Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys all had a great week. Before we get into the main portion of the video, we have an announcement on the divers. Thank you guys all again for your support. It means so much to us. I wanted to say that we are going to be retiring the green model and the white model. That won't necessarily be a permanent thing, but it will be for this year at least. So for those of you that picked up a white model, congratulations. And for those of you that got a green model and who are still thinking about it, we do still have some in stock, and those will be the last ones available for this year. For the other colorways, we'll be bringing out more in July. For the main portion of the video, this is something I was talking to my dad about earlier. It seems that there's a lot of interest in creating a micro brand, manufacturing, what goes into it. So I wanted to have my dad talk a little bit on something that most people don't think about, and that's consistency in manufacturing a watch as far as the design, getting each piece to look the same as another. So it's one consistent batch as far as quality goes. And because for those of you who have been with the channel for a while, know my dad has been around when it comes to manufacturing, very experienced, and it's he's the best at it. So I wanted to let him talk about that and get you guys some more info. For those of you who are thinking about starting a micro brand, this is going to be really valuable information to hear.
Thank you. All right, a couple of things to start off with. Most of the manufacturing of that, of course, is done in the Orient. I say Orient specifically because it doesn't just include China. Thailand is included in that as well. Korea is included in that. Japan. It's starting to be Vietnam now as well. India is included in that. But having said that, that already brings up certain question marks. When you deal with raw materials, if we start with the raw materials, there's the term 316L, which is the common term for a high-end watch manufacturing. And there's some other steels that are used as well. But we indicate that it's a high-end. The question now arises, where is that material made? If it's China made, I would shy away from it. That would be considered a low end product that is being manufactured, a case that probably would cost somewhere around $7 to $15. If it's made from Austria, Germany, or Japan, those are high-end manufacturers of raw materials, and those are the ones that you can build up with your quality. So that's point number one. Point number two, anybody can draw a technical drawing with all the tolerances that are necessary to qualify for stating this is going to be a good watch. On paper, it looks good, but the question then is, how can it be converted into reality? Walking through a manufacturing site reveals a lot of times what they're capable of. And there's, certain manufacturers are capable of doing a D quality, certain go maybe D and C. Others, they're within the B quality to C quality, and there's hardly anybody that can venture up to an A quality. And those are the ones for, in the price segment for Swiss made or comparable with Swiss made, that those are the manufacturers that have to be sought out to use for those kind of products. And they don't necessarily allow anybody access. That's a challenge as well. And the reason why I say that we have to choose those for A quality is the biggest differentiation in manufacturing is in the finishing. And the finishing is in polishing and brushing is is very, very challenging to make it look exactly the same. An untrained eye probably would think everything looks the same, but once you're trained, it becomes quite obvious. Yeah, this is not good, or this is not good. So polishing, the discipline of polishing something in the sense and in a way that it's always looking the same is probably one of the biggest challenges in the case manufacturing sector. Having said all of those, there's a couple other things that go into it from a dial perspective, but dials are so far-reaching in different quality segments and manufacturing segments that it all depends what kind of a dial you want to manufacture. From the hands point of view, there as well, you can purchase a set of hands that cost 50 cents all the way up to $6, $7 or $10. Question is, what do you want there as well? And if you want to do a close-up shot of your hands versus just any kind of shot, then if it's close-up, buy expensive hands. Otherwise, you will destroy yourself probably. In regards to bracelets, there again, it's finishing, a lot of it, as well as manufacturing. Bracelet manufacturing is very forgiving on the technical side. You can have 15, 20 mistakes in it, and you can cover those with finishing quite easily. You want to stay away from those that know how to cover up those mistakes, because in the long run you're going to pay for it. So choosing a manufacturer for those components is very, very critical, and if you're not trained in it, you probably will regret the one that you pick, because normally we are accustomed to pick something that is cheaper and not more expensive. So
yeah, that doesn't help in the long run. And when you say that those manufacturers are more picky and hard to get a hold of, are you telling me that all those companies that email me every day begging to do our manufacturing, they're not probably not going to offer the best quality?
No, they don't. They show you a picture of what they make and what they can make. Samples always look good. Pictures that people or companies send you, they always look good. But then when it actually comes down to being able to manufacture something and it always looks good, every single one, that is very challenging. So anything that you see on all of the websites that are easily attainable, I wouldn't approach those manufacturers.
Yeah, and they'll reach out to you too. For any of you that are watching that own a micro brand, you know what I'm talking about. I get messages on Instagram, through Facebook, through email. Everybody wanting to manufacture for us. Everybody saying they do it better than the next person. But something you'll hear often from other brands is when you go to these shows where they have manufacturers, often they don't like to tell this, because it's you're basically giving information to your competitors if you tell them who not to use and who to use. But a good rule of thumb to use is, from what I've heard from other brands and my dad, is the manufacturers that are at those shows aren't necessarily the best ones, because the best ones don't need to go to the show and try and get brands to make watches. So aside from my dad manufacturing, because we manufacture from brands, there's other people like my dad out there. I don't want to shamelessly plug what my dad does and say use us, but if you're starting a brand, it's in your best interest to find someone with experience, because if you don't, like my dad said, and you walk through the manufacturer facility, and you should go there, a lot of people don't, you'll know what to look for, and that's something that you won't really know if it's your first run of watches. And I think that's a problem a lot of micro brands run into when they first go, because the barrier to entry right now, I've said this a lot of times, is basically non-existent. Everything's really globalized. Anybody can have a sample watch made. It's having it made correctly and in a way that the consumer will be happy. That's tricky. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Some info. These are fun videos for us to make. Kind of give you guys a little peek behind the scenes of how things work. And Jeremy should be done assembling samples later this weekend. And for those of you who supported the last video, thank you.
Thank you.
You made it easily our most expensive video yet. So thank you very much for that. Jeremy's happy and I'm happy too because it turned out great. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Get the sport watch now.